McGraw-Hill? Sounds like a new age music label.
Gesundheit. Harold Big Deal, MD.
Anita D, don't we all? Anita D. Thanks.
The symptoms are quite familiar, and very likely you'll come up with a correct diagnosis.
Oh, do I get my copay
Yes, it
back?
looks like a cold, a common cold.
But the common cold doesn't usually land you on a ventilator.
Achiness, very often a slight fever. Those are some of the symptoms of the common cold. Well, how do we get into that unhappy state?
By just driving north on I-29?
Because of cold? Because of ice, snow, and low temperature? No. Funny
Nope.
thing about colds, where it is coldest, the inhabitants hardly ever get colds. Explorers tell us that Eskimos are cold-free, unless they come in contact with visitors from outside their
Wow,
frozen
this is
world.
problematic on like a bunch of levels.
Then if it is not just cold weather, what is it that causes so many of us to catch cold?
White colonizers?
Scientists think that most colds are caused by extremely
Oh, yes,
small
take it off.
microorganisms.
Ooh, you're gonna reproduce
called
for binary
viruses.
fission. You dirty slut.
Viruses, and there are many different
Oh,
kinds.
just drink some bleach,
can
you'll be
started
fine.
with each particle of saliva and mucus. When one sneezes or coughs, for instance.
Oh.
But do not think for a moment that cold-producing viruses are spread only by sneezing and coughing.
Mostly it's spread by
If
boomers
some
clicking on
magic,
links on
the
Facebook.
tiny particles of saliva and mucus could be made visible as a black smudge.
Ugh.
We quickly
Out,
would realize
damn
in how many
spot.
other ways we are apt to scatter bacteria and viruses all around us. For instance, Jane here has a cold.
You think?
Look at that smudge. Look at those germs.
She's
she leaves on the
disgusting.
doorknob.
Jane's
Here's
always
Bob's
doing knob
hand
jobs.
picking them up. Bob, his hand now covered with germs picked up from that doorknob, transfers them to a book. Sue, having the bad habit of wetting her finger to turn pages, carries the germs from the book to her mouth.
She's got that wet-ass
and then
finger.
passes them along with a pencil to Anne.
Thanks for your slobber pencil.
Anne carries them home and leaves them on the family's dinner table.
Good one, Anne.
Yes, even during an ordinary conversation, saliva
back
and
off,
mucus
Harvey
particles
Weinstein.
escape our mouth and easily reach others.
Oh
who
wow, what are the
inhale them
odds
as they
they'd both
breathe.
be soul eaters?
Just remember how breath becomes visible on a cold day. How then, with so many germs surrounding us, can we avoid having colds all the time?
A MAGA hat?
Well, fortunately, our body has defenses against this enemy.
Machine guns
Normally,
mounted
we
here
breathe
in the
through our
upper
nose.
sinus.
The nose, as well as the sinuses, the eustachian tubes, and the throat are lined with a delicate membrane. If, under a microscope, you look at the lining of the nose, we call it the nasal membrane, you can see that it is covered with tiny moving threads. These are called cilia. They move back and forth like stalks of grain when a wind blows over a field.
Picture it, Rose. Cilia,
The cilia are covered
1935.
with a warm, moist,
a good
sticky
joke.
substance
It's like a
called
gym sock?
mucus.
Warm, wet,
The
and
nose
sticky. You
usually
have my
secretes about
attention.
a quart of this liquid every 24 hours.
A quart?
This
Ugh.
mucus, by warming and moistening the air we breathe in, prepares it for our lungs. The mucus also catches and destroys microorganisms, that is, bacteria and viruses. The movement of the cilia carries the mucus down to the pharynx. Then it
I
is
thought that was in
coughed out
Egypt.
or swallowed into the stomach, where any remaining microorganisms are destroyed by the digestive juices.
Ain't my fault that I'm
If
out
these
here
defenses
getting
are
loose.
weakened,
Got a
the cold virus
digestive
will gain a
juice. Got a
foothold and
digestive
cause the
juice,
inflammations
baby.
which so often are associated with the common cold. The common cold is not a serious sickness, but still, medical science as yet has not found a cure for it.
So there's that.
Ah, yes, there are remedies galore.
That's some good
All sorts of
mentholatum.
medications which soothe pain and headaches and so bring some relief. However, they do not cure colds.
No.
And no matter how convincingly they may be advertised, do not use them without having checked with your doctor. But there is a sound prescription. If you have a cold, don't stay in school, because if you do, you may send others home with your cold.
Oh, it's Thanos!
I guess it was inevitable.
Okay, the woman behind him is like 55.
If you have a cold, stay home. Stay in bed.
You have my
This
attention.
is the prescription which common sense and medical science recommend.
Wearing a damn mask.
But only those your doctor prescribes. No others. Warmth, rest, which you can get best when you stay in bed. And while you're there, you might as well make the best of it.
Okay. Suddenly he sits up and tugs my panties off and throws them to the floor. Pulling off his boxer briefs, his erection springs free. Holy cow! He kneels up and pulls a condom onto his considerable
Use
length.
tissues instead of handkerchiefs.
You knew a lot of that.
That way you'll dispose of the germs much better than when you blow them into a handkerchief.
Sure, that's not.
However, should you not feel better in a couple of days, or if you keep on having a fever, you should ask your parents to call a doctor.
Dr.
You see,
Detroit.
What you think is a simple
Dr.
cold
Feelgood?
could really be the first symptoms of some other disease, such as
Measles. Infantile paralysis. Diphtheria. Whooping cough. Scarlet fever. Influenza. Puddle of mud.
And others.
Rammstein. And more at Lollapalooza 99.
However, even if your illness proves to be only a simple cold, it is still important that you take care of it. A cold which is not treated might very well back up along the mucous membrane and so invade the sinuses, the cavities in the bones of the face and the skull.
And from there, it's
Or
brain
the
cancer.
infection may reach the middle ears when it invades the eustachian tubes, which connect the middle ears with the throat. Frequently, the inflammation also travels down the respiratory tract to the pharynx, the larynx,
Are those in Egypt?
and the trachea. Your throat feels sore, and your voice is husky.
These
It
pants are
travels to
husky.
the bronchi.
Go
You have a
Denver.
bad cough. And occasionally even to the lungs. And that is pneumonia. These are painful complications, and they often take a long time to clear up. The best defense against the common cold and all these other diseases is to keep up the body's natural resistance. To do so, you must eat regularly and well-balanced meals. That is, meat, vegetables, fruit, milk, and so on.
At least 5 salads a
Get lots of
day.
exercise and fresh air, but do not exhaust yourself.
Never exhaust yourself.
In cold
That's my
weather,
motto.
you must wear sensible clothing to provide proper warmth to remain healthy.
Well, Billy here's about to bomb Korea.
Go to bed at a reasonable hour. While you grow, you need about 10 hours of sleep each night.
10 hours.
10 hours?
Sleep recharges
I haven't
the
gotten that
body's
much this
energy.
week.
Protect yourself against infection. Keep pencils and other things out of your mouth.
Marv.
Never
Guilty.
take bites of other people's food.
Monty.
Do not use somebody else's drinking straw or glass, not even within your own family. In the bathroom, for instance, use only your glass.
So wait, we
And
should all
wash
have our
your
own brush?
hands frequently and
Don't stick a
thoroughly.
toothbrush up your butt
Especially before
unless
eating.
you want to.
When you wash your hands, you wash away many of the disease-carrying smudges you may have picked up.
Not all, but enough.
But if in spite of all these precautions, you still come down with a cold, let us repeat, take it to bed
Take
it
it
to
to
bed.
bed.
until it has run its course. This is the safest way to regain your health and to return as quickly as possible to work, to fun,
Oh, fun.
and to play.
Hey, there's Peter at first base.
Oh, he finally made it. That's great.
San Jose State, or as we like to call it, Second Try U.
Anita D, don't we all? The end.